Good morning, everyone. This is Coach Taylor. This is the week of December the 7th and 14th video on mental health issues. Now, this last week we were in basketball, so this week we are moving into mental health. Mental health is a major issue in America today. So many people in this world, in this nation, suffer from mental health issues. A lot of people are really struggling with mental health issues, especially during this time of quarantine right now. During this pandemic, COVID-19 has really caused a lot of teenagers, youth, parents, adults to just have mental health issues. So today we're going to take a look at what is mental health, how can we deal with mental health, and so forth. So as we go through this module, take a look at it with me. Again, if you have any questions, concerns about mental health, please email me, Michael Taylor at wcps.org. You can also contact Miss Phillips. She's our guidance counselor here on campus. She will be glad to sit down and talk with you about what we kind of talked about with stress management. If you don't want to talk to her, Miss Smith, our social worker, is also here for you as well. So let's get started. Again, this is the 6th grade module. But the grades 6, 7, and 8, they all look the same. So we're going to jump right in to this. So now, as you can see, when you pull up your modules for this week, it's going to have December the 7 through 18, and then 7 through 18 up here as well. I want us to take a look at this first one right here. You can see December 7 through 11 learning announcements. Here's going to be your objectives. You will need to take this pre-quiz, okay, by December the 14th. You can see December the 14th right here. It's a 5-question pre-quiz on mental health issues. And then up here, you're going to see the final quiz on mental health. Again, it is due by December the 14th. That is Monday, December the 14th. So that's the reason why I'm putting both modules together, okay? And I'll be talking about that throughout next week, making sure that you're getting the information completed, getting the information done. So let's take a look at this particular quiz. All right, so here's your quiz. Again, it'll go live on Sunday, December the 6th, okay? So let's take a look at it just so you're familiar with what some of the questions may look like. First question, mental illness is more common than diabetes. Is that true or false? That's up to you. Mental illness occurs in 1 out of every 4 families in the United States. Mental illness is treatable. Being mentally impaired challenge is very different from having a mental illness. And then the last one, it takes medication, years of intense therapy and counseling to treat a mental illness. What do you think about this? Now, it's true, false, but as long as you complete this particular quiz, you will get a 100 in the grade book for completing this assignment. This is a pre-quiz again, pre-quiz. I just want to know what you know at the beginning of this unit on mental illness, okay? So take a look at that. Do that first. Once you complete that, go back, and then we're going to get into our PowerPoint presentation at this particular point. So mental health, again, I talked about it a while ago. Same world, different view. Now, here's that question. Here's the quiz that we just talked about. That every question was true. Okay, every question was true. So it's mental illness is very, very, like I said a while ago, it's very, very common. It occurs in 1 in every 4 families. It is treatable. My family, my sister, she deals with mental illness. She's been dealing with it for about half of her life. And I've talked about her earlier this year in some of the other classes. Medication, you can take medication to help deal with those. Now, good characteristics of mental health. Let's take a look at these right quick. All right. Um, so to have good mental health, you need to feel good about yourself. You're comfortable around other people. You're able to meet life's demands. Life throws you challenges all the time. So how are you going to deal with life demands? You express your emotions in healthy ways. You don't want to do things that are negative to yourself. You're very positive and optimistic about life. Um, you use good health skills. And we've already talked about stress management. Hang on. We've already talked about stress management and making good decisions this year and how to resolve conflicts. Man, we've already talked about a lot of the things this year. So that's a good signs of mental health. You can cope with change. You're assertive. You listen very well, and you can be part of a team or a group. All right. Now, let's take a look at some of the negative or poor things of mental health. You do not share your feelings with others. Emotions get a hold of you very, very easily. You're very negative. You ignore your problems. Don't ignore your problems. If you're facing a problem, you need to talk to somebody about that. You cannot accept change. And life changes. We've all changed this year in COVID. So how are we going to deal with that change? You don't know how to handle your stress. You blame others. You're very aggressive and passive. You become depressed. You run from conflict, that you don't want to deal with conflict. You're going to have conflict every day in your life. How do you deal with that conflict? You're closed-minded. It's this way and only this way, and you need to run. What do you see? Now, the first word that I see in this picture is good. That's what I see. Now, you may see something else, but the very first thing that I see in this picture is the word good. I don't know. So, what is mental health? Mental health is patterns of thinking or behavior that causes a person significant emotional pain or prevents normal functioning. Okay, it is a disease. Mental health is an illness, it's a disease or a period of sickening that affects the body or the mind. Okay, so again, it's patterns of thinking or behavior that cause significant emotional pain or prevents normal functioning. All right, now we all have some type of mental illness. And we're going to talk about forms of mental illness in just a few minutes. I have a form of mental illness, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I have OCD, and we'll talk about that in a little while. So there it is. All right, some myths about mental illness. People with mental illness, these are just myths. It's not the truth. It's just a myth. People with mental illness are dangerous and violent. The mentally ill cannot be trusted around children. Mental illness is caused by personal weaknesses, and people with mental illnesses are poor or less intelligent. Again, that's a myth. So a myth is what people think about mental illness, but it's not necessarily the case about mental illness. My father, he travels in the Southeast United States, and he talks about mental illness with adults. He talks about mental illness with teenagers. Before I did this lesson, I had a good conversation with my dad, about mental illness. Okay. So what are some general causes of illnesses? Traits, inherited traits that you may get. It may not be from your father, your mother. It may be from a grandmother or a grandfather. Negative experiences that you may have in your life. traumatic experiences may cause that. Environmental issues before birth, viruses, toxins, drugs, alcohol. Those are some things that you are exposed to even before you're born. And then brain chemistry. All right, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is what we need on a daily basis. Psychological needs are your food, water, sleep, and then safety is security for your body, employment. How are you going to, where are you going to live? Money. That's your safety. And then your next one is belonging to somebody, your family, your friendships. Then you have self-esteem. Is feeling good about yourself. What are you accomplishing? Respect for others. And then finally, you have self-actualization. Is creativity, problem solving. But right here, it says self-actualization is, excuse me, is a person's motivation to reach his or her own full potential. All right, so you go, guys, that I have a goal right now of becoming a principal, assistant principal one day. So I am motivated to reach my full potential as an educator. And that's your self-actualization. So what is your ultimate goal in life? Once you reach that, you have reached self-actualization. Okay. But Harold Maslow's, he's an older gentleman. He was a psychologist who studied positive human qualities. And he was just an awesome guy. And a lot of research has been done about his hierarchy of needs. All right. So our next thing that we're going to take a look at is the chemical imbalance. The person that, so your brain has all these different parts of the brain. And, all these different parts of the brain sends skills and things to your body to help you get through the day. Part of it is your vision, your speech and memory, motor skills, and then social and personal skills. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there to you, that a lot of your mental illnesses comes from the brain. Okay, it's a chemical imbalance. So what do you see here? Optical illusions. Same picture, but different view. What do you see right here? This, to me, looks kind of like a chess, pieces of a chess. Kind of looks like a post. Just kind of crazy and different. So which line's the longest here? Now, if you take a look at this first line, the arrows are pointing back. The first lines, the arrows are pointing outward. This one, the arrows are pointing, this one's pointing to the left. This one's pointing in. But then you take a look at this one, they're pointing outward. But if you take a look at just the line, they're all the same. To me, it may look different to you, but they look the same. So it just optical illusions. I wanted you to take a look at some of that. This is crazy right here to me. To me, it looks like all these things are spinning around, but in all reality, they're not moving at all. But it's just your vision. Taking a look at this picture right here, it looks like it's moving on you. Take a look at that for just a few seconds and kind of pinpoint on just a dot in there. And it looks like all the things and circles are spinning around and around and around. I think that's pretty interesting, pretty cool. What do you see first? I see a duck, but at the same time, you see a rabbit. Okay. One of my professors back in college actually showed me this picture, almost 20 years ago, and in one of my child development classes. So right here, you kind of see a duck facing left, or you see a rabbit facing right. All right. How many gray dots do you see? Every time I look up, I see a different dot. But in all reality, it looks like the dots are all white. But again, with the vision, you're going to see dots, gray dots all over the place. Okay? All right. Say the color of each word. And if you notice right here, it's it's green, it's yellow, it's purple, it's orange, it's blue, it's green, but it's different colors. So I thought that was pretty cool too. All right, horizontal lines or straight lines or diagonal lines. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Again, if you take a look here, in all reality, these lines are straight, but the way it's perceived, that they're different lines. Their lines are moving here and here, but in all reality, these lines are straight. Okay? Some different things. Do you see a face or a word? I see a face, but then when I kind of rearrange my face and I take a look at it, I see the word liar right there. Okay? Pretty interesting. All right. So now we're going to get into the different types of mental illness. Okay. The first one that we talked about a while ago with you was OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. It's an uncontrollable need to perform repetitive acts. I have an issue with this. If something's just not right, I want to fix it, and I wash my hands maybe 4 times or 5 times. My sister, I kind of talked to you about her earlier. She has a tendency, and she sees a light switch. She'll have to go to the light switch and turn it off and on like 4 or 5 different times until she feels like it's correct. Or she might have to, come up here and touch the computer screen 4 or 5 different times before it feels right. Okay, that's an OCD type deal. Schizophrenia is you're losing touch with reality. It's kind of a split mind type deal. Okay, this loses ability to distinguish fantasy from reality. Some individuals inherit a potential of developing this disease. Is this treatable? Yes, it is treatable, but it does take time. All right. Some early psychological trauma when you're early in your childhood is, violence, sexual abuse, death, divorce, separation from somebody, and stressors in your childhood. All right. Multiple personality disorder is 2 separate disorders. Now, there's some movies out there that really talk about this, and it's pretty interesting to have a split personality. One day you think you're somebody, and the next day you're thinking that you're somebody else. It's 2 separate identities. Okay, interesting. Anxiety. I suffer from anxiety. So someone that's experiencing anxiety attacks suffers from panic attacks and fear and high stress events. Anxiety is, and a lot of people suffer from anxiety. A lot of people suffer from that. Phobia is when you're scared of things. You have a fear of certain things. Okay. Some people may have a fear of going to school. Some people may have a fear of oceans, of being in the dark. So these are just some of these right here are just some of the examples of different types of fear that I wanted to throw out to you. Okay. ADHD is a combination of problems such as feeling difficulty sustaining attention, hyperactivity, impulsive behaviors. A lot of people or children are diagnosed at an early age with ADHD. And as you can see here, right here, it's often not diagnosed before the age of 7. And then some people are even diagnosed with ADHD before they're 3 years old. Okay. Chronic interference in more than one setting, home life, schoolwork, sports activities. A lot of students, a lot of children are diagnosed with ADHD, but they really don't have ADHD. Again, and there's medicine that people can take to help deal with ADHD. My nephew, has ADHD. And my brother and his wife do a great job of handling my nephew. Okay, so here's some signs and symptoms of it. They're inactive. So some of them are inactive, and then some of them are hyperactive, or they're just impulsive. So your inactive signs, you make careless mistakes, you're having trouble staying attention, difficulties following instructions. So that's just some of the signs or symptoms. And then the hyperactive is you're always wanting to go somewhere. You're always wanting to move. You're always wanting to go somewhere. You're fidgety, and you're squirming around a lot. You interrupt conversations all the time. Do I have a little bit of this? Maybe so. I always like to be on the go. All right. I like to be moving around and being involved and doing something that's different. And I always like to be busy. Okay. All right. Let's keep moving on. Addiction. Last year, if you had my class last year, we talked about addiction when we talked about drugs and alcohol and tobacco usage. Being addicted to something is a mental illness. Okay, so addiction is a physical or psychological craving, need for higher and higher doses of substances that can harm your body. All right, it can really have a financial problem in your life. You get dependent on something. It's a habit or a behavior. Now, right here, it talks. This is poker chips. So, if someone might be addicted to playing poker or gambling. All right, here's alcohol and here's drugs. So you're becoming addicted to different things. All right. So here's some facts. I think I skipped the slide. Hang on. So yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's move on. Some facts. So just some facts about women and men. 90% of women in the U.S. are unhappy with their bodies, and they think they need to lose weight. So 90% of women in the U.S. think that they need to lose weight. 75% of men are unhappy. That's just astronomical. But the average women in the U.S., it says that they're 5'4", weigh 144 pounds. So a lot of people are unhappy with their body. Now, the reason why I say that is because now we're going to get into talking about some eating disorders. Now, we're going to talk about eating disorders later on in the year, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about these eating disorders. But as you can see right here, 7 million women and 101 million men and children suffer from eating disorders in this world. That's astronomical amount of people that have eating disorders. So we're going to talk about some of them. Anorexia nervosa is a disorder in which the irrational fear of becoming fat, obese, results in severe weight loss from self-imposed starvation. So these people want to starve themselves. And here are some characteristics of men or women that suffer from this mental illness. And here's some consequences from that. Warning signs. Take a look at this lady right here. You can see the starvation. She's not eating like she's supposed to. She's not eating the right kinds of food. She's always exercising. She's got anxiety about gaining weight. So you can kind of see that right there. All right, some health risks from this. Take a look at this lady in a bathing suit. She does not look healthy at all. So she's losing muscle on her body. She's got heart failure. She looks very, very weak and fatigued, hair loss. So take a look at what this lady looks like right here. So we know that she's struggling with something. She's got a cigarette in her hand. So we need, if you have someone in your family, we need to get that particular person some help. All right. So if you're struggling with that, this lady right here, she is very skinny in this picture, but in the mirror, she thinks that she's fat. Now she's not fat at all, but in here she thinks that she's fat and overweight. So that's kind of what a person feels like and sees when she's dealing with that particular issue. Okay. How it affects your body. I'm not going to go through this entire thing. You can read it. Brain, your brain, nervous stem, your hair, heart, blood, muscles, joints, kidneys, your body fluids, intestines, hormones, and your skin. They all are affected by this disease. Okay? Now, let's move on. Bulimia is when you're going to eat, but then you go throw up as soon as you get done. All right? You eat, but then you throw up. You're very concerned about your body weight. You're always exercising. So bulimia is another type of disease. And again, here are some characteristics of bulimia. Warning signs: you buy a large amount of food, but then you eat secretly, but then you skip your meals. Okay, so there's your learning signs through this. Again, some more health risks that go along with it. Tooth decay is actually one of them. You have a high risk of seizures. Again, it's impacting your body. It's impacting your health. Okay. Irregular bowel movements. Again, it's impacting your body and impacting your health. Okay. This is just something that I found. I thought it was pretty interesting. So she's eating right here. She's got a soft drink and another sign, but guess where she is? She's in front of the toilet. So she's going to eat, then she's going to make herself throw up. Okay? That's the tendency with that particular situation. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. You see a lot of those military individuals, maybe police officers, firefighters, EMS, that struggle for PTSD. It's a mental health condition that is triggered by a terrifying event. So not only did the people that I just mentioned may have this, but if you or someone that you know have been triggered by a terrifying event when you're at a younger age, or maybe as you get older, that experience or by witnessing may trigger this mental disorder. Okay, you're thinking about this disorder because you witnessed it or you experienced it. Symptoms may include flashbacks, nightmares, or severe anxiety, as well as uncontrollable thoughts about that particular event. Self-harm, people wanting to cut themselves on their wrist. My sister had that. She was always wanting to cut her wrist. So it's attempting to alter a mood state by inflicting physical harm on yourself. All right. So again, cutting, burning, head banging, scratching, bruising, you're biting your skin, pulling your hair, picking at your skin. Those are some common behaviors of self-harm. All right. And again, here are some ways that you can deal with it. Journal. Write it down. Write down what you think is going on with you. Okay. All right. Depression. The number one thing right now is depression. A lot of people are depressed because of COVID-19, because you're not around your friends. You're not around the people that you were normally around before it happened, because you're not in your normal state physically before COVID-19. So it's a mental disorders primarily involving sadness, dependency, or depression. You're not around things and the people that you're around before COVID took place. A lot of people feel depressed. It's back in April or May, and I looked at my son and I said, Heath, what is wrong? Because he just wasn't acting like himself. He said, Dad, I think I'm depressed. I said, why? He said, because I hadn't been around my friends in a long time, and I want to play with my friends. I want to go places. I want to go do things. And he was just depressed for a period of time. And, my wife and I had to sit down and talk with him about being depressed. Okay, we're almost done, guys. You can't just snap out of it. It says you can, but you really can't just snap out of it. Okay, being depressed takes some time. Okay, snapping out of depression is likely as taking yourself out of a heart attack. Depression is a major serious illness that needs medical attention. If someone is experiencing mild depression for 2 weeks, you need to get help. If left untreated, it could lead to suicide. Fortunately, depression can be treated and lives can be saved. Okay, here's some symptoms: withdrawal from family and friends, dropping grades, change in eating and sleeping patterns, a large weight gain or loss, substance abuse. And again, we talked about that earlier. Difficult concentrating, remember on doing different things, and outbursts. Seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD, is another type of depression that usually occurs in the fall and the winter months because it gets dark in the fall and the winter months. Oversleep, fatigue, social withdrawal. Right now, let's talk about that with me. Right now, it gets dark at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, I think it's time to get in the house. I think it's time to get a shower, eat dinner, and go to bed. But in all reality, it's still 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I typically wouldn't do that until later in the afternoon. Okay, so I have a trouble dealing with this as well. All right, bipolar. You kind of take a look at that right quick. So you got depressive symptoms and manic symptoms. Okay, a lot of people have and it goes back to just split personality. So we're not going to get into this. We're going to get into this, later on this year. Okay. Suicide is one of the big things. It's the third leading cause of death for people ages 15 to 24 years old. Most suicidal teens do not want to die. Rather, they want to feel like it's the only way that they can deal with it. But you need to talk to somebody. They give clues to people before they talk about it. But again, talk to somebody. If you're feeling depressed, suicide is not the answer. We need to talk to somebody. Again, you have your parents, you have your teachers, you have your guidance counselor at school. You have all kinds of people that you can talk to somebody. So talk to somebody about this issue. Okay. It's a major issue. All right. So some warning signs: giving away prized possessions, feeling hopeless, threats to hurt yourself, preoccupation with death. All right. So here's some steps to help someone with mental illnesses. Share concern skill. Show that I care and I love you. I see you. I feel the way you feel. I want to listen to you. Ask tough questions to that person. Are you feeling depressed? Okay. Tell somebody. It's like I said a while ago. Tell someone. Okay. If you're feeling pressure with mental illness, or someone, tell somebody that you trust. Okay, can you recover from it? Yes, mental disorders are treatable. Okay, talk to doctors, therapists, counselors, dietitians. My sister-in-law is a dietitian. Medications. All right. Now, how do you prevent? Share feelings with someone that you trust. Emotions. Use positive self-talk. Again, stress management techniques. Okay, making healthy decisions. And we've already talked about making healthy decisions, and we've already talked about making and using stress management techniques. Effective communication skills all come into place, and know the warning signs and symptoms. Okay, all right, so that kind of goes into our PowerPoint. Now, as you complete that PowerPoint, we're going to go back to the module. Now, here's a video that I want you to complete and watch about mental health in teenagers. We're not going to play it here, as I want you to do that on your own. So hit play button here, and then once you hit the play button there, go back. Now I want us to take a look at the week, this week right here. Okay, and again, it's the week of 14 through 18. Take a look at that. And then now, I'm not necessarily going to go into this PowerPoint personality traits and the self-content trait PowerPoint. I'm not going to go in that. I want you to take a look at this other video. It is a wonderful and great video of teen and mental health. Okay, do take a look at that. Take a look at this next video. These are some of the videos that I'm going to be showing in class to our face-to-face students. So I want you to take a look at those as well. Once you get done with that, and again, this final quiz needs to be taken by December the 14th. Okay, it's a 20-question quiz on mental health. And as you can see, the first 4 questions are true-false questions. And then you got a series of multiple choice, and then hierarchy of needs. What are the hierarchy of needs for Maslow's hierarchy of needs? You can go back and take a look at the PowerPoint. You don't have to tell me in detail what they are. Tell me what they are. Just name the 5 hierarchy of needs. Okay? And then true, false, OCD. And then here are some of the types of mental disorders that we talked about. A lot of these are true, false questions. So again, all these questions are going to come from the PowerPoint that I just went over. Okay? Again, look at all that. So again, all these come from the first. And what are the 5 common behaviors of self-harm? Again, all these questions come from the first PowerPoint, the week of December the 7th, in the PowerPoint that I just went over. Once you get done, hit submit quiz, and then you will be finished with the first semester of health and PE. Okay? Again, I'm going to go back to the module. But again, please get these 2 quizzes completed by December the 14th. And again, if you have any questions, any concerns, please let me know. I will be available next week, in the weeks after. My email is michaeltaylor@wcps.org. Again, if you want to talk to Miss Phillips, she's our guidance counselor on campus. She will be glad to talk to you as well. If you feel comfortable talking to your homeroom teacher, talk to them. But again, talk to somebody. If you feel as if someone that you know needs to be talked with, talk to them as well too. Okay? Again, I'm here for you. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Enjoy your Christmas break, and I look forward to seeing everyone after Christmas. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.